Welcome back to Investing Talk podcast.
Hello again.
Today we're taking a closer look at Enovix Corporation. They operate in that high-performance lithium-ion battery space.
That's right. And so sources we've looked at, they paint a complex picture. You have this innovative technology, pretty strong backing from analysts, but then you also see some significant financial, let's call them headwinds, and quite a bit of stock volatility.
Okay, so our mission today is to sort of unpack what's most important for you, the listener, to understand about Enovix at this moment.
We've got information on their business model, their recent financials, analyst views, future catalysts, the whole lot.
Great, let's get into it. So Enovix, founded, 2007, based in Fremont, California.
Correct. And their main game is these high-performance lithium-ion battery cells.
And not just for one thing, right? I see wearables, IoT devices, smartphones, computers, even EVs, and supplying other manufacturers' OEM.
Exactly. So they're designing and manufacturing these advanced cells. The focus really is on that high-performance aspect.
Which suggests they're targeting markets where maybe standard batteries just don't quite cut it.
Precisely. Think applications needing more power, longer life, maybe smaller size. That's where they aim to differentiate. Could be wearables, high-end electronics.
Makes sense. Okay, let's pivot to the stock. It's definitely seen some action.
It certainly has. The past month, the price range was roughly between $5.97 and $6.90.
But zoom out 6 months, and it's a much wider picture, a low near $5.27 and a high up around $18.68. That's quite a swing.
It is. And generally, the trend over the past year has been downward, reflecting, market conditions, but probably company specifics too.
And that beta number, 1.99, that basically screams volatility, doesn't it? Much more movement than the overall market.
It does. It signals a higher sensitivity to market shifts, both up and down. Not uncommon for tech companies in this sort of growth phase, but something investors absolutely need to be aware of.
All right, let's dig into the financials. The latest quarter, Q1 2025, revenue was $5.1 million.
Which was actually pretty good news for them. It landed within their guided range of $4.5 to $6.5 million, and it beat the midpoint. Also came in above analyst estimates.
Okay, positive on the revenue front. But then the trailing 12-month net income, that's negative $199.38 million.
Right. And the corresponding earnings per share, TTM, is negative $1.10. So still significant losses overall.
Although for Q1 specifically, the GAAP net loss per share was $0.12. That was better than the loss analysts expected, which was closer to $0.24.
That's another encouraging sign.
Right.
And they also mentioned achieving a positive gross margin for the second quarter in a row as of early May. That's a step in the right direction, moving towards profitability at the product level.
And cash. They noted $273 million in reserves, seemingly from the end of last year, Q4, and it looks like they're relying on equity financing.
That seems to be the approach, raising capital by selling stock. It helps fund operations and expansion, especially with ongoing R&D costs, but it can dilute existing shareholders. It's a trade-off.
So it's a mixed bag financially, progress in some areas, but still burning cash.
That sums it up well. Revenue beat, smaller loss per share than expected, positive gross margin. Those are good. But the overall net loss is still substantial.
Okay, let's talk red flags versus strengths. What are the big concerns?
Well, the net losses we just discussed are definitely a flag. And the high beta, the volatility, those point to risk.
The Q1 revenue guidance, even though they beat it, was revised upward, which itself might signal some unpredictability.
True. And there's uncertainty around the commercialization timelines for their newer products, the EX2M and EX3M series. When will those really scale?
And the cash burn, given the R&D needed, is always something to watch for a company like this.
Absolutely. Balancing innovation investment with the path to profitability is critical.
But on the flip side, what are the strengths? What's the bull case?
Well, they are positioned in a growing market. High-performance batteries are in demand, and analysts on average seem quite positive. The consensus rating is strong buy.
That's significant analyst support.
It is. They also report making headway with smartphone makers and opportunities in defense. Apparently, they've shipped EX2M samples there.
And another customer win. A second big name in smart eyewear placed orders.
Yes. Securing actual customers, especially marquee names, is a major strength. It validates the technology. And that tech itself, the silicon anode approach, could be a real competitive edge.
Right, the potential for higher energy density. That's the core innovation, isn't it?
It's a key part of their value proposition. Making silicon work reliably in an anode could unlock significant performance gains.
Okay, diving a bit more into market sentiment. We mentioned the strong buy rating. The average 12-month price target is around $18.83.
That's the consensus figure, suggesting considerable optimism about where the stock could go over the next year.
Though I saw one firm, Craig-Hallum, recently lowered their target from $18 down to $12. They kept a buy rating, though.
Right. Their note mentioned balancing the long-term potential against some near-term execution risks. That kind of captures attention, I think.
Belief in the tech, but aware of the hurdles in scaling up.
Exactly. And recent news flow does point to progress. The tech advancements, the plans for mass production in Malaysia, hopefully starting late 2025.
And that 2025 smartphone launch they're aiming for, that sounds like a potentially huge milestone.
Definitely. Those are the kinds of concrete developments the market wants to see.
Now, who are they up against? This isn't an empty field.
Not at all. They compete with established giants. Think LG Chem, Panasonic, CATL. These companies have massive scale, existing relationships, broad market reach.
So Enovix is trying to carve out its niche with performance.
Essentially, yes. Competing on specific performance metrics where their tech might shine, rather than trying to match the sheer volume of the big players initially.
Are there other tech threats? Like solid-state batteries?
Oh, for sure. Companies like QuantumScape and others are working on next-gen chemistries, like solid-state or lithium metal. That's another layer of competition, not just existing lithium-ion players, but completely new approaches, too.
So the pressure to innovate is constant.
Absolutely. Staying ahead technologically is crucial in this sector.
Looking forward, then, what are the key things to watch? What could really move the needle for Enovix?
The big one is getting that mass production facility in Malaysia, Fab 2, up and running by late 2025. That's key for scaling output.
And the smartphone launch in 2025 you mentioned.
That's critical. Breaking into the smartphone market in a meaningful way would be a major validation and growth driver.
Opportunities in defense seem interesting, too, if that develops.
Yes, the interest there in high-energy density batteries plays to their strengths. Plus, those smart eyewear partnerships could become significant.
So for investors, it's about tracking factory utilization, hitting those commercialization timelines for the EX series batteries.
Those are probably the key performance indicators, yes. They signal whether the company is successfully transitioning from R&D to large-scale commercial operation.
Of course, we need to acknowledge the risks involved.
Always. Regulatory changes are a possibility in the battery world. Competition, as we discussed, is intense.
Supply chain issues could crop up, component shortages, manufacturing hiccups.
Those are always risks in complex manufacturing. And again, the uncertainty around the EX2 MEX3M timelines. Delays there could impact sentiment and growth.
Okay, let's try to pull this all together. How should we think about Enovix overall?
Well, it looks like a speculative play. There's potential for significant growth based on their technology and the markets they're targeting. Analyst support is there.
But balanced against real financial concerns, the losses, the cash burn, and that stock volatility is hard to ignore.
Exactly. So it might appeal to an investor with a higher risk tolerance, someone looking for that growth potential and willing to ride out the bumps.
Whereas someone looking for more stability might see it as more of a hold for now, waiting for more proof points.
That seems like a reasonable perspective. The rationale for buying would be the potential of the tech and future catalysts, despite the current financial picture.
So, to recap for everyone listening, Enovix seems to have exciting possibilities in high-performance batteries. The tech looks interesting, and they have some big milestones potentially coming up.
But, and it's a significant but, they're dealing with financial losses, operate in a very competitive space, and the stock has been quite volatile.
We definitely encourage you to do your own further research. Looking into their SEC filings can give you more financial detail. And keep an eye on news about that production ramp-up and product launches.
So what stands out most to you about Enovix? What questions does this raise for you about where battery tech is heading or how to invest in this sector?
Let us know your thoughts. Please subscribe if you haven't, like this discussion if you found it useful, and leave a comment. We read them, and it helps us figure out what topics you want us to cover next.
Thanks for tuning in.
We'll see you next time on Investing Talk Podcast.